"So, where have you brought me?" Aaron looked around in confusion. He was in an unfamiliar place, somewhat like the architectural styles of foreign countries. He lowered his head and looked at the palm of his right hand, where a dark, deep black hole swirled between the lines. It seemed to constantly rotate, expanding and shrinking, dazzling the eye. Just looking at it made him feel inexplicably cold. Aaron was a Dragon Country citizen, growing up under the red flag for 22 years. Just after graduating from college and preparing to start his factory job, a black hole suddenly popped up and sucked him in. There, he seemed to see the birth and destruction of the universe. The instant of the endless universe exploding was so magnificent. And as the explosion rushed towards him, just as Aaron thought he was about to die, he arrived in this unknown world, just as he was asking. He received some information in his mind. The black hole was the Primordial Furnace, just born outside the true fourth wall. A conceptual furnace that could melt all things and create everything. It could devour everything, extract concepts or characteristics from them, and then return them to Aaron as abilities or objects. The Primordial Furnace transcended everything, even time and space. It melted everything but also created everything. Theoretically, it transcended the concept itself. Of course, the Primordial Furnace was just born, and it needed to acquire enough data to complete its initial accumulation. And Aaron became its host. If that's the case, why did you send me here? Aaron was speechless. Why didn't you say so earlier? Why swallow me as soon as we met? Man sits at home, and a black hole comes from the sky, like a monster from the abyss. That world was too boring, it answered coldly. Boring? So this universe is interesting? Aaron was a little skeptical. He looked up again, and then his pupils contracted. Holy crap, Stark Tower? You threw me into Marvel? Stark Tower stood out like a sore thumb in New York, its distinctive structure and logo making it unforgettable at a glance. Aaron was very anxious. This was a world where gods walked the earth. Instead of staying in a safe place, he was sent here to deliver takeout. I know you're anxious, but don't be. Now that we are one, we just need to complete the most basic accumulation, and we will transcend everything. Aaron's expression changed slightly. Am I still me? You will always be you. Your soul and flesh have been reshaped. You and I will be filled with infinite possibilities. Sounds good, but who knows if you're lying to me? Aaron thought to himself, wondering if this thing had self-awareness. Pretty smart. You are me, and I am you. I cannot lie to myself. Very short and concise, Aaron breathed a sigh of relief. If that's the case, am I just talking to myself? He shook his head. Now is not the time to think about these things. Coming to Marvel for the first time, he was completely undocumented. His main priority now was to make money. In the world of capitalism, money equals everything. But before that, what he needed most was to gain power. Money is the foundation, and power is the key. According to the Primordial Furnace, I need to feed it things to make it grow? So, am I raising a pet? Aaron shook his head, looked around, and rummaged through his pockets. A Huawei phone, a wad of paper, and that was it. In modern society, other things can be left behind, but a phone is a must. Otherwise, it's impossible to move. Considering the strange tech tree of the Marvel world, Aaron didn't expect the 2025 Huawei phone to be very advanced, so he casually threw it into the black hole in the palm of his right hand. Almost instantly, after absorbing the phone, the Primordial Furnace spat out several rays of light, which directly merged into his body through the palm of his hand. These light spots quickly strengthened his body. They flowed into every part of his body, with more rushing into his brain. A faint message appeared in his mind. Super brain. Includes absolute memory, powerful retrieval, super processing, parallel computing, and many other abilities. Supervision. Can clearly see an object the size of a basketball hundreds of meters away. Super perception. Can sense various signals and movements that humans cannot detect, including wireless signal fluctuations, human heartbeat, breathing, or object size. Energy control. Can precisely control energy and calculate the energy consumption of different regions. Lightning control. Can store and release lightning. Network manipulation. You can access the network world at any time, and you can easily manipulate it to a certain extent. Super agility. You will gain powerful flexibility, able to easily perform extreme movements that were previously impossible, and you will be able to better control your body. Electromagnetic control. Can create and control magnetic fields of a certain strength. Vibration. You can vibrate. Body of light. You can glow. Eren carefully sensed the earth-shattering changes happening to his body. His heart couldn't help but surge with excitement. All his emotions coalesced into two words: awesome. A mere phone could give him so many practical abilities, instantly turning him into a phone man. Then what about other things? In that instant, he thought of many possibilities. Infrared thermal imaging equipment, X-ray perspective detector. Of course, there were also various magical insects and animals, as well as the various magical items existing in the Marvel world, such as 084 or the Asgardian Vault. Of course, there were also the mysterious Infinity Stones. Even superhumans and celestials themselves were objects that could be devoured. Wind Spirit Moon Shadow, activate. Eren, now a phone-human hybrid, began searching for new objects to fuse with after adapting to his surroundings. His eyes scanned the ground, landing on a colony of tiny ants crawling nearby. He instinctively recoiled, then caught himself, focusing on the ants. If I can fuse with a phone, then ants shouldn't be a problem, right? Hesitating for a moment, Eren walked over and held his right hand near the ants. With a sudden whoosh, he sucked one of them into his palm. Afraid that the Primordial Furnace wouldn't obtain enough data, Eren absorbed several more ants, gathering dozens of them from the surrounding area. The Primordial Furnace then emitted several rays of light that merged into his body through his arm. Super strength. You can now lift objects weighing 400 times your own weight and drag objects weighing over 1700 times your body weight. Super physique. Your overall physique has been further enhanced, increasing muscle density and skin resistance, enough to withstand handgun bullets. Super perception. You can detect various pheromones in the air and easily distinguish them. Detecting similar abilities. Merging complete. Master builder. You possess an extremely strong sense of space and can flexibly use various materials to easily create vast labyrinthine structures. I'm incredibly strong now. Eren clenched his fist, feeling the sudden surge of power. He felt like he could punch a cow to death. This was no illusion. He was originally 1.75 meters tall and weighed 70 kilograms now. After the enhancement, he stood at 1.85 meters tall. He hadn't weighed himself yet, but judging by his steel-hard muscles, he estimated it to be over 100 kilograms. A true demon of muscle. This meant he could now lift about 40 tons. And drag over 100 tons of weight. Even in the Avengers, with the addition of other abilities, he could barely manage to be a named supporting character. Of course, that was limited to the MCU universe. However, Eren was still not satisfied. This was just the beginning. He could become even stronger. With just this much power, combined with his Eastern appearance, he might not be stronger than Blink, and getting a single line would be lucky. He needed to be stronger. First, he would set a goal: Earth's strongest. With super agility and super brain, Eren, after some training, had already mastered control over his surging power. He then left the alley and walked onto the unfamiliar street. Looking at the foreigners filling the street, Eren felt a moment of daze, a completely unfamiliar place. Unfamiliar land and unfamiliar people. No, wait, now I'm the foreigner. Eren shook his head and walked aimlessly. Walking, he pondered. He needed money now. Lots of money. Did he even need to build a faction? How long would it take for him to collect everything he wanted on his own? Forget about Object 084 or the Asgardian Vault. Even collecting the special creatures that existed on Earth would take him a lot of time alone. Of course, Eren didn't like building a faction slowly. If possible, he hoped to pick up a ready-made one. His eyes constantly wandered. What's a quick way to make money? Supermarket? ATM? Bank? Eren shook his head. After living under the red flag for so long, he couldn't easily adapt to the local fine traditions. Moreover, he hadn't forgotten that this was Marvel. It stinks. It really smells. Eren kept rubbing his nose along the way. Good grief, these people smelled awful. Cheap perfume, disgusting body odor, all kinds of feces smells, and all sorts of mixed odors. And he could distinguish the subtle differences in them. For example, the perfume contained different pheromones. With super perception, he could easily smell the various pheromones permeating the air. There were dozens or even hundreds of pheromones at every moment, which was simply torture. It wasn't that his brain couldn't process it, it was just that it stank. Aaron instinctively forced himself to ignore it, gradually mastering the ability to selectively turn off parts of his super perception. At that moment, his eyes flickered slightly. Should I try hacking an ATM? Or kidnapping? He reluctantly shifted his gaze away from the ATM and focused on a little girl walking past him. She was about 10 years old, wearing a white princess dress, with long golden hair and delicate skin. She was skipping and jumping, looking full of energy. The little girl looked around, seemingly full of curiosity about the outside world. She also saw Aaron looking at her and smiled at him with a sweet smile. "Big brother, you're very handsome." The little girl suppressed her shyness and took a few more glances at Aaron before slowly walking away. Walking, she kept looking back at Aaron. She had never seen someone so handsome and with such an exotic charm. Aaron also gave her a gentle smile. Of course, Aaron wasn't a lolicon. After fusing with the phone, he had gained an extremely strong analytical ability and instantly captured dozens of details about the little girl. A custom-made princess dress, a hairstyle designed by a high-end hairdresser, even the backpack was an expensive item. Everything was sending a message to the outside world. I'm a little rich girl, I have a lot of money. Aaron connected to the nearest network signal, his eyes flashing slightly, and a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. The little girl was actually the future female Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. He remembered that her mother was the CEO of Bishop Security? Aaron wondered if he should go meet his future mother-in-law. Well, of course, that was a joke. He saw several figures flashing in the crowd behind the little girl. Since you said I was handsome, I'll help you this time. A dozen minutes later, at an intersection with relatively few pedestrians, about to leave the wealthy area. 4 disguised men looked at each other, then simultaneously pounced on the little girl. Hurry, we must take her away before they react. Who are you? The little girl was terrified. At only 12 years old, she had no power to resist against the 4 burly men rushing towards her. Moreover, with her small arms and legs, she couldn't run as fast as them. As the 4 men with ferocious expressions approached, Kate suddenly saw a rapidly approaching man behind them. With one step, he easily crossed dozens of meters, and in the blink of an eye, he had passed over 100 meters and arrived behind the 4 men. And whether it was an illusion or not, she felt a faint halo appear around Aaron. Kate Bishop's mouth widened, and she was completely dumbfounded. Mom, I saw Superman. Who? The 4 men were clearly trained to some extent. Seeing Kate's expression, they instantly realized someone was behind them. However, as soon as they turned their heads, a figure like a Tyrannosaurus Rex swept past, and they were sent flying dozens of meters away like broken rags. In less than a second, all 4 of them had been sent flying. Aaron braked sharply and came to Kate Bishop's front, smiling and saying, "Little one, we meet again. Are you alright? Big brother, are you a superhero? Like Iron Man, zooming around punishing evil and promoting good? Big brother, do you know the nighttime hero of Manhattan? I think he's nowhere near as good as you. Big brother, what superpowers do you have? Can I learn from you?" Big brother, Aaron regretted it. Kate was like a human ? Constantly asking questions since he saved her. He glanced at the 2 gun-toting men beside him, who were frequently turning their heads. They had appeared right before and after Aaron dealt with the enemies. In fact, even if Aaron hadn't acted, little Kate probably wouldn't have been in danger. But in Kate's eyes, Aaron was like her angel, descending from the sky at her most critical moment. And a handsome angel at that. Just like in the TV shows. Kate, don't bother your savior. I don't think you want people to see you as a noisy and annoying alarm clock, do you? At this moment, a mature and serious female voice came from a distance. Then, a capable woman in a long red dress walked over. Mom, Little Kate instantly rushed towards her, then, remembering something, stood to the side to tidy her appearance, revealing a trained smile while whispering, "Mom, am I really that bad?" Eleanor chuckled and shook her head, then her eyes lit up when she saw Aaron and extended her hand. "Thank you, Mr. Aaron, for saving my daughter." Aaron shook her hand. "You're welcome. Kate is a very intelligent girl, and I don't think anyone could stand by and watch her get into trouble. However, Ms. Eleanor, about what happened here." Aaron looked at the scene. Although he had held back, under the acceleration of extreme speed, these 4 robbers were already half dead. They were all lying motionless on the ground, looking like they were about to go to heaven together. "My situation is a bit complicated right now, and I don't want to waste time with the police." Eleanor glanced at them with disgust, then smiled kindly. "Please rest assured, sir. We will take care of everything and will not bother you for even a second. And we also have a gift for you." Eleanor waved her hand, and a man in a suit came forward carrying a briefcase and opened it. $1 million. This is our sincere gratitude, and we hope you will accept it." Truly a rich woman, casually handing out $1 million. Even though Eleanor knew that Kate wouldn't have been in danger, she still chose to give away $1 million. Just when Aaron thought things were over, Eleanor added, "Because of the limited time, we can only offer this much cash for now. There's another $4 million. If Mr. Aaron doesn't mind, you can tell us your address, and we'll deliver it personally." Damn rich people. Daring to try and buy me off with money. "Fine, you win, Mo, cough. I don't currently have a residence in New York." "I understand." Eleanor was very understanding and said enthusiastically, "Actually, I have a property in the XX district of Manhattan. No one has lived there since it was renovated, but I have people clean it regularly. If you don't mind, you can stay there temporarily until you find a new place." In that instant, Aaron felt like he was being kept. Is this the life of the wealthy? However, Aaron wasn't overly surprised. He now possessed unlimited possibilities. Even in his current state, he possessed an advantage that the Bishop family couldn't match: power. In the 21st century, money was king. But in the Marvel world, individual power is king. After a brief surprise, Aaron nodded calmly. Eleanor's smile became even brighter, and she warmly greeted Aaron. She even somewhat neglected little Kate. Kate pouted, following closely behind. After Aaron settled the matter of accommodation, he bid farewell to Eleanor and the others amidst Kate's reluctant gaze, and continued with his next arrangements. "Now, I need an identity." In a place unseen by outsiders, Aaron's brain was like an advanced computer, listing items of business and packaging them into folders, placing them deep within his mind. At the same time, it automatically connected to the US network, beginning to retrieve and browse all the information he needed. With a super brain and network control, Aaron was like carrying a mobile phone and computer with him. Without the need for other devices, a single thought could retrieve all the information from the network. Inside his brain, he contacted a black market dealer who specialized in fake documents. Based on multiple confirmations, this guy was either backed by the FBI or someone from the Immigration Bureau. He had the channels to properly record a person's information into the system, without breaking the law or making mistakes. Although Aaron could easily enter the network world and do many incredible things within it, hacking into official systems to input information was not so easy. At least, he couldn't consider all aspects properly in the short term. The vast amount of data on the network, even in his current state, was impossible to distinguish in terms of authenticity and practicality. He wasn't artificial intelligence, after all. Moreover, his network controllability was limited to the features extracted from the latest Huawei phone. Without getting rid of his undocumented status, Aaron couldn't even shop online. He focused more on collecting information about the world. Soon, he determined the current state of affairs in the world. It was 2010, and Tony Stark had already uttered the phrase, "I am Iron Man." However, Thor's hammer hadn't yet fallen, but it was probably close. Thankfully, there's still time to develop. If I had fallen directly into the moment of the snap, I would have really had to gamble on that 50% chance. Even if I could be resurrected in the future, it would waste a precious 5 years of development time. Aaron thought to himself. He didn't expect this group of heroes to achieve a victory that wasn't a victory, like in Infinity War. He preferred to control his own destiny. He packaged a copy of information from the surrounding area on the map and put it into a folder. Eren was about to head straight to the nearest pet shop. However, as soon as he opened the door, a small figure was standing hesitantly at the entrance. Kate. Eren and Kate walked slowly down the street in New York. Eren, are you from that country in the East? Was that Eastern Kung Fu you used just now? I know Bruce Lee. His Kung Fu is amazing. They say he can kick a person 10 meters away. I always thought that was fake, but after seeing you easily punch people flying several meters away, I realized Kung Fu is real. Can I learn it? Don't worry, I'll pay you well. I can give you money, lots and lots of money. Kate's eyes were filled with anticipation. Ever since she saw Eren's godlike ability to subdue those bad guys, she lost interest in her dolls and such. She wanted to have the same powerful fighting skills and strength as Eren. If you want to gain the same power as me, then I'm sorry, I can't give it to you right now. Eren shook his head. Theoretically, the Primal Forge could grant the same characteristics and concepts to others. But why would he? Even if Kate was cute, they had no connection. He would never arbitrarily give others extraordinary abilities. At least, not to people he didn't know. Kate's expression dimmed when she heard this. Can ordinary people become superheroes? She asked, unwilling to give up. Kate had a bit of a misunderstanding, but Eren didn't correct her. Instead, he said, yes, look at Tony Stark, didn't he become a superhero with an ordinary human body? Kate wasn't encouraged by this, but instead became even more dejected. But I don't have any armor. I asked my mom, and she said it takes a lot and lots of money and a powerful brain to create something that amazing. Our family doesn't have enough money, and we don't have a smart brain like Mr. Stark. Eren looked around and casually said, then why don't you start with the basics and learn various fighting techniques while also exercising? Kate seemed thoughtful. That sounds good. I'll tell my mom to sign me up for taekwondo, fencing, judo, martial arts. Kate wiggled her fingers, saying it with a serious expression. Eren chuckled. I suggest you take it easy for now. You're still growing, don't do too many strenuous activities that could hurt your body. And taekwondo, I think you might want to consider other martial arts. Kate nodded earnestly. I'll seriously consider it. But Kate was still a little uninterested. Although Eren, her senior, had pointed her in the right direction, the thought of having to learn so many things and not being able to quickly gain Eren's powerful strength to protect her and her parents naturally didn't make Kate happy. Especially since Eren didn't seem to want to be her teacher? Kate looked up at Eren's tall figure. Can you teach me? Anything at all, fighting, combat experience. Eren's expression was strange. I don't mind being your teacher, but the things I know, I really can't teach. For example, Kate was confused. Have you seen Ultraman Tiga? Yes, I've also heard the song, Miracle Appears. Kate looked excited. The children in it can turn into light and help Tiga defeat monsters. Eren blinked. What if I told you I can also turn into light, would you believe me? Huh? The familiar background music of Miracle Appears suddenly played around them, like sunshine breaking through the night. A new storm has arrived. As Kate was immersed in the music, she was still wondering where the sound was coming from. Then, her eyes stopped on Eren and she couldn't look away. Oh my god. I saw the light. Kate covered her mouth. At this moment, that radiance appeared on Eren again, getting brighter and brighter, and it seemed very warm. You're Ultraman, Eren Ultraman? No, you can call me Lord Saphiron? Seeing the shocked expression on Kate's wide eyes, Eren chuckled and shook his head. The light receded, and he ruffled Kate's golden hair with his still warm hand. I was just joking, don't mind it. I'm not Ultraman, these are just some small abilities. But you can really turn into light, a Flashman? Kate moved her feet like a doll, immersed in the scene she just saw. Superman? Ultraman? Or the Sun God? A storm raged in Kate's mind as she searched for a codename that best suited Eren's abilities. As she thought about it, Eren started singing. This time, he changed to a very popular American pop song. But what surprised Kate the most was that the effect Aaron produced was exactly the same as the original she had heard. No, it seemed even better, every note, every beat was just right. Before long, Aaron switched to another song with a completely different tone. But it was still so beautiful, and the switch in tone was unusually smooth, completely like it was copied from the original. How did you do that? Maybe you could consider becoming a singer, you'd be famous all over the world. Kate suddenly understood why Aaron would say that. Just this one skill alone would probably take her several years to master, right? Perfectly imitating other people's voices. It was so lifelike that it was as if the real person was singing. Maybe you could also be called a mockingbird? Kate rubbed her hair hard, it was too hard to choose. Or should I call you Mr. Incredible? Or All Might? Aaron waved his hands repeatedly. Stop obsessing over these things. I don't want you spouting any more shocking words. First Mockingbird, then Mr. Incredible. If he let her keep thinking like this, she might even come up with names like Thanos, Oba, Sidorak, or Shuma Gorath. This was Marvel, and calling himself such a name had a chance of attracting the gaze of evil gods. Did she really think her father died too late and want him to die even sooner, and maybe get a different dad along the way? Aaron's ability to mimic voices came from a special power he gained after melting down a phone. When the music was playing just now, he had a flash of inspiration, realizing that he could quickly transform sound signals in his mind to mimic other voices. And it turned out to be true. He can easily record external audio, switch it into a signal, and then speak it out verbatim. The two signals are almost identical, but there will be errors during the conversion and transmission process. But that little error is basically negligible. However, this ability cannot fool certain special beings. Daredevil might be able to tell the difference. The sound is the same, but the emotion is definitely different. Extremely sensitive people can distinguish between true and false through this. We're here. Aaron stopped on a street corner. Kate looked up and her tone suddenly rose. An insect shop? You like insects? Aaron raised an eyebrow. Looks like you're afraid of those things? I'll go in for a while, you stay outside. Kate hesitated. I should go in with you. Hold my hand. I'm a little afraid of those things, and snakes. Compared to insects, she was more afraid of strange people popping out of nowhere. Aaron laughed and waved in the distance. A burly woman walked over from afar. She nodded to Aaron. Your protectee will be waiting outside for a while. Take her to the cafe we passed just now. The woman nodded seriously upon hearing this. She wore sunglasses and looked cold and serious. However, she still asked curiously, Mr. Aaron, how did you find me? As a professional, she had been maintaining a distance of at least 100 meters away. You think you're being cool like this? Aaron rolled his eyes, looking unapproachable. He could see her clearly even from hundreds of meters away. Of course, he discovered her through the signals transmitted in the air. He not only discovered her whereabouts, but also heard her communication with Eleanor. This was an important reason why he was able to confirm her identity. Eleanor suspected that the previous attack was a deliberate act by another security company. As the saying goes, rivals are enemies. What better way to damage a security company's reputation than for the owner to be unable to protect their own daughter? Aaron didn't care about these rivalries between companies, they were nothing compared to what he was about to do. Aaron looked eagerly at the insect shop, waved to Kate, and walked inside. Hello sir, can I help you with anything? A middle-aged man with messy hair looked at Aaron with a bright smile. Obviously his shop wasn't doing well, and he was a little too enthusiastic. Aaron didn't care about his overly enthusiastic face. He glanced around and said bluntly, do you have any green tiger beetles, bats, rotifers, green sea slugs, sea urchins, Hercules beetles, ironclad beetles, pistol shrimp, mantis shrimp, planarians? Wait. The middle-aged man was happy and worried, and even wondered if this person was making fun of him. Buddy, this is just an insect shop, not some insect research lab. Even an insect specimen museum couldn't have everything you need at the same time. Like green tiger beetles, those are a special product of dragon country, and water buffalo ants are in Australia. And many of them are contraband, it's hard to get them past customs. Aaron took out a stack of American dollars from some pocket. Do you have them now? The middle-aged man's eyes were glued to the dollars. I remember. I have some of them here. Things I've been treasuring. Aaron took out 2 more stacks of American dollars. What about now? Bro, I'll get them for you even if I don't have them. The middle-aged man gritted his teeth. I have many channels to get you what you want. Even those contraband, no problem. Aaron nodded and snapped his fingers, and the middle-aged man's phone rang. The things I want are all in the email. Bring out as much as you can right now. As for the rest, get them to me as soon as possible. Money is not a problem. Aaron casually found a chair to sit down. At the same time, he took out a few more stacks of American dollars. How much you can earn depends on your ability. The middle-aged man's eyes were red. A big customer. He had been playing with insects for so many years that his wife had been scared away. He didn't have any children, and even his little shop was on the verge of closing down, about to go back to living under a bridge. Now, his insect hobby was finally turning around. You wait here, he said almost fawningly, quickly poured a glass of water, and then went into the back room. After fussing around for a while, he brought a few glass boxes to Aaron. He looked reluctant. This is what you want. Some of them are not for sale, but seeing how sincere you are, and I guess you're an insect lover, these are all yours. Aaron glanced at them. 2 large ironclad beetles, 3 rhinoceros beetles, 2 Hercules beetles, and several other beetles. There were also several different kinds of spiders, including the sun spider, which is very famous in the insect-fighting world. And a few scorpions. This gentleman, these things cost me 10,000 American dollars, is that enough? Aaron pushed a stack of money off the table. The middle-aged man nodded repeatedly. Enough, enough. Sir, you are too generous. Well, I hope you can get the other things done as soon as possible. The sooner the better, dead or alive, but preferably alive, and preferably more than 3. Like I said, money is not a problem, I'm in a hurry, understand? Aaron was expressionless, suppressing the excitement in his heart, and leisurely looked at his babies. Of course, sir, the customer is always right. I will get your request done as soon as possible. Aaron nodded and pushed out a few more stacks of bills. This is all deposit. If the money is not enough, tell me again. My contact information is on the email. Remember, as soon as possible. Aaron didn't explain why he was doing this. In this world where money is supreme, no amount of explanation is as useful as cold hard cash. The middle-aged man nodded busily, looking at Aaron as if he were the god of wealth. The email almost covered all kinds of insect species, and it would cost a lot to collect them all. But, as long as there is money, everything is not a problem. He's going to be rich. As long as he completes this deal. With this god of wealth style, he will earn at least hundreds of thousands. As for what Aaron is going to do with them, what does he care? Even if he wants to release them or create a biological invasion or something, it's the government's headache. Maybe he's just using them for biological experiments. I'm also contributing to the development of medicine? The middle-aged man thought happily. Aaron carried a bunch of things, covered with a cloth, and easily carried them out. He looked around, then hacked into nearby public surveillance, and his right hand's black hole immediately started sucking. Seeing this, Aaron couldn't help but complain. Speaking of being awesome, but in the end it can't leave my hand, the standard is a bit low. Because you're weak. The weather is so nice today. Aaron looked up at the sky, and at some point, dark clouds had filled the sky, giving people a sense of depression. In a trance, it seemed that a few crows flew over squawking. By the way, the fusion won't give me some strange abilities, will it? Aaron thought of a terrifying scene. He imagined himself with a beetle's thick shell, a long horn on his head, several sharp and agile legs sprouting from his back, and rows of grotesque fluff. And at the tailbone, a long, venomous stinger as long as his body. No, absolutely not. Aaron liked becoming stronger, but becoming something other than human, that was hard to accept. At least, given the choice, he wouldn't accept such a change. A temporary transformation might be acceptable, though. Rest assured, I am you. The concepts I analyze all conform to your inner desires. Everything will have a positive effect on you. Of course, if you want, I can give you that too. Forget it, Forget it. Aaron's eyebrows twitched. He couldn't accept that kind of change. Let other warriors take the risk of becoming non-human. This time, several breaths passed. Then, several rays of light flew from the palm of his hand again. Familiar power strengthened his body once more. Super defense. Ironclad beetle. You can withstand forces 39,000 times your own weight without dying. Super strength. Atlas beetle. Similar abilities detected. Fused. You will be able to lift objects 600 times your own weight and drag objects exceeding your body weight by 2,000 times. Spider sense. Super perception enhanced version. Similar abilities detected. Fused. You can sense impending danger, keenly perceive any anomalies in the environment, and detect pheromones and signals in the air. Web shooting. You can shoot out spider silk with strong elongation, strength, toughness, low temperature resistance, etc. Equivalent to Spider-Man's webs. Toxin immunity. You are immune to some toxins. Toxin production. Your glands can produce toxins at any time, enough to kill a cow in 1 minute. Supervision. Similar abilities detected. Fused. You can see more colors and have more powerful dynamic vision. Static electricity control. You can easily control static electricity on the surface of your body and other objects. Any obstacle is like walking on flat ground for you. Weaving master. Your silk-making skills are masterful. Even more powerful. Aaron clenched his fist and swung it hard, instantly creating a loud sonic boom. With a gentle movement, he teleported dozens of meters, leaving shallow footprints on the ground. He wasn't sure if it was his imagination, but he suddenly felt like he was in a world made of glass. It felt as if the slightest exertion would easily destroy everything around him. He had to be extra careful, controlling his power as much as possible. The most powerful upgrade this time was super defense. With his current body defense, even the heaviest aircraft carrier crashing down wouldn't harm him. Putting aside whether he could lift it, he was terrifyingly hard. His strength hadn't changed much, only increased by a few dozen tons. But now, if he stood in front of his former self and let him hit him all day, he might have fallen asleep. Aaron thought of Captain America. Hopefully, I won't be worked to death? Shaking his head, Aaron slowly familiarized himself with his new power. Thanks to his powerful brain and body control, he quickly mastered the surge in strength. Even holding a tiny ant, he could ensure its safety. Looking at the time, he realized half an hour had passed without him noticing. Aaron hurried to the cafe and saw Kate looking bored. When Aaron appeared, Kate pushed back her chair and hopped over excitedly. When she was 2 or 3 meters away, Kate seemed to remember something, paused, put on a calm face, and kept looking around. Where are those things? Seeing this, Aaron deliberately reached into his pants pocket, and Kate backed away in terror. Oh my God, you really put them in your pocket, it's huge. Huge? Aaron followed her gaze and his face darkened instantly. He faintly sensed the gazes of others, some wary, some shocked, some suspicious, some delighted. Aaron reluctantly turned his pockets inside out. Okay, I told him to deliver the stuff home. I don't have anything on me. Kate was a little unconvinced. Then this, it's a banana. Okay, let's leave. Do you want to keep drinking coffee? Aaron pulled Kate out, thinking that if they stayed any longer, they might be mistaken for perverts. However, Kate was still very curious and even wanted to touch it. Aaron rolled his eyes and, looking at the tall buildings, had an idea. Actually, I have another ability. Do you want to swing? Is there one here? Kate's attention was immediately diverted. She forgot about exploring the so-called banana, looked around, and her eyes were suspicious. Ready? Aaron shot out a series of webs with his left hand, sticking to Kate, and swung his right hand, launching a long web that stuck to a distant building. After sending a message to the nearby bodyguards, he suddenly catapulted himself out. Ah! I'm taking off. As the two turned into black dots, swinging between the buildings, Kate's screams, both terrified and excited, echoed from afar. The two nearby bodyguards came over, looked at each other, and then looked at the unknown text message that had been sent at some point, falling into a state of existential doubt. When did Aaron take out his phone to send them a text message? Do they still need to chase after them now? Looking up, they immediately abandoned the idea of chasing after them. Picking up their phones, they made a call. "Boss, Miss Kate has flown away." Eleanor, who was in a meeting, was completely dumbfounded. Little Kate flew away? Is it April Fool's Day? Mr. Aaron sent us a text message and then flew into the sky with Kate. They're probably 2 streets away now. Should we still chase after them? Maybe we can apply to use a satellite or surveillance? Eleanor's eyes were dull, her mind blank. Actually, the reason why she gave away houses and money wasn't simply to thank Aaron, but to gain his favor through these material conditions. Perhaps he could work for her Bishop Security. A company with a superhero would definitely win the favor of countless wealthy people. But now it seemed, did they really have the ability to take down such a powerful Oriental? Mysterious, powerful, but now it seemed, at least Kate and Aaron's relationship was pretty good. Even if they couldn't recruit him, gaining his friendship was also good. Eleanor's mind was racing, and she suddenly noticed Kelly smiling and waving to her outside the window. Then the two of them suddenly flew into the distance. Oh my God, this was the 20-something floor. Boss? I saw it. Eleanor took a deep breath, her expression constantly changing. You don't need to worry about it, come back first. After calming down, looking at the group of managers below, she suddenly felt bored. Meeting adjourned, flying, she was a little jealous of little Kate. It must be very exciting, right? Wow, that was so exciting. I saw my mom's company, and I even waved to her. That's my school over there. They're going to be so jealous when they see me. Faster. This is amazing. I'm flying. Aaron was carrying Kate, swinging her all over the center of New York. Before Spider-Man was even born, they had achieved the first swing across New York. When Aaron brought Kate down from the sky, landing on the rooftop of a tall building, Kate was still craving more. This is so awesome, using a modern slang term for cool. I've never experienced anything like this, flying so freely, more free than a bird. It would be even better if you weren't using that stuff to wrap around me. Kate's face was flushed, excitedly describing her experience. She wasn't exactly a well-behaved girl to begin with, and Aaron's swinging had completely ignited the thrill-seeker deep inside her. She was clinging to Aaron, wanting to play again. Aaron looked at her, noticing her legs were still shaking, but she didn't even realize it. Pointing at the setting sun, he shook his head helplessly. Your parents must have told you that kids shouldn't be out late, especially little girls. Let's go home. To Kate's surprise, Aaron picked her up this time, quickly swinging through New York City. Even though it was his first time experiencing swinging with webs, his body coordination, no less than Spider-Man's, allowed him to easily master this alternative form of flight. When he first watched Spider-Man, who wouldn't want to have the superpower to freely fly around the city? Not just Kate, even Aaron felt it was quite thrilling. First, he took Kate home, waved to Eleanor and the others waiting at the door, and with a light step, Aaron shot straight into the sky. Just as he was about to fall, a web extended for dozens of meters, sticking to a building and launching him into the air again. Hey, I'll find you tomorrow, I want to play again. Kate shouted at Aaron's back, who, without turning around, gave a thumbs up, quickly disappearing into the skyscrapers. Kate, Eleanor, realizing what was happening, quickly went to Kate's side. Mom, today was amazing. Mr. Aaron is like an omnipotent hero, he can do anything. Kate chattered excitedly. Seeing this, Eleanor could only look at her dotingly, listening quietly to her sharing her fun experiences. But the more she listened, the more envious she became, wishing she could take her place. At the same time, she was even more shocked by the power Aaron displayed. This handsome Asian man was even more mysterious and powerful than she imagined. Thinking of this, Eleanor leaned down and said softly, "Little Kate, you must never tell anyone else about this. It will cause some trouble for Mr. Aaron, understand?" Kate raised her head earnestly and said, "Don't worry, superheroes can't reveal their identities, I understand. I won't tell anyone except you." Eleanor nodded upon hearing this. Although Kate was a bit restless and interested in everything, she would definitely do what she said. "Then let's make a pinky promise. You can't even tell your father, understand?" Meanwhile, in Manhattan, a young boy was sitting on a school bus, looking out the window bored. Oh my god. Someone's flying. Where? Oh my gosh, someone's really flying. Could he be a superhero? How cool. Peter Parker heard the commotion from his classmates, and followed their gaze to look out the window. A figure was flying like a bird from one building to another in the sunlight. He flew flexibly through the city, disappearing from sight in a few breaths. That's so cool, if only I had that kind of power. Peter Parker was full of envy. Hearing the intense discussions of his classmates, he thought, if he also had superpowers, he would definitely become the object of their admiration, right? A superhero, that sounds incredibly cool. But when he thought about the fact that he was just a loser in reality, Peter Parker suddenly smiled bitterly. How could such a good thing happen to him? Aaron didn't know that the real Spider-Man was envying his imposter. Aaron came to the top of the Empire State Building, once the tallest building, looking down at New York City, feeling a surge of emotions. He had only been in the Marvel Universe for less than a full day, and he had already gained such powerful strength. What about the future? Would he have the opportunity to gradually climb to the top and become the supreme omnipotent god? Aaron shook his head, temporarily putting aside such distant thoughts. I'm still too weak right now. Only tens of tons of strength. In the MCU world, that's just enough to be an extra. Looking at the boundless universe, I'm no more powerful than an ant. I need to become stronger. Aaron took a deep breath, and as his gaze shifted, he saw a familiar yet unfamiliar sign. That's Oscorp Industries. Aaron stared at the Oscorp Tower for a long time. His expression slightly changed, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. In a place invisible to others, his brain released unknown signals, successfully connecting to the nearest network, and then moving quickly through the network world. He successfully entered Oscorp Industries' monitoring center. His brain worked at high speed, and in just a few seconds, he successfully found his target. Green Goblin. Norman Osborn, at this moment. In the laboratory building of Oscorp Industries. In a laboratory filled with high-tech instruments. Norman Osborn, wearing a white coat and glasses, was holding a report and recording data. He was staring intently at a white mouse in a bulletproof glass cage. His face was slightly excited, but in the next second, this mouse, which was much stronger than ordinary white mice, and was also behaving violently and madly, suddenly exploded into powder with a bang. Norman Osborn's face instantly turned dark, and he forcibly suppressed his anger and recorded the data. After reducing the vaporization inhalation dose by 70%, Subject 759's physical strength increased 8-fold, lasting for 1 minute. A significant increase. The side effect is still a tendency towards violence and aggression. It is recommended that the next experiment be conducted according to the dose of this experiment. After writing a dense report, Norman put the document into a safe, sat down tiredly, and rubbed his temples. Damn it, why can't it succeed? What went wrong? Do I have to go back to the equation stage and start over? No, I must not do that. There must be some loophole somewhere. Perhaps the mouse's body is too weak. Norman Osborn muttered to himself for a while, then looked down at his Rolex. Harry's already out of school. Sigh, that's it for today. Just as he got up to put his white coat into the sterilization room, the laboratory door suddenly opened. Who is it? Didn't I say that no one can disturb me when I'm doing experiments? Norman frowned and was about to scold, but when he saw the strange Asian man standing outside the door, his expression paused. Aaron walked in on his own, taking in the entire layout and condition of the laboratory with a glance, including the position of objects, reagent names, and various strange symbols. Who are you? Norman Osborn thought in his mind, but didn't recognize Aaron. But as the boss of the company, he couldn't possibly know all the lower-level employees, nor was it necessary, except for the middle and senior management. Who I am is not important. What's important is, do you want to live? Aaron casually fiddled with the instruments and reagents in the lab, making Norman's brow twitch. When he heard Aaron's words, Norman's lips twitched slightly, his peripheral vision sweeping outside, his footsteps subtly moving towards the door. Are you a robber? Or an industrial spy? How much money? Name a price, and I'll give it to you. A million? 10 million? I'll try my best to satisfy you. Aaron shook his head, picked up the incomplete version of the human enhancement serum Norman had just put down, and shook it roughly. Norman quickly stopped him. But, if you want to do something else, you better think it through. My name is Norman Osborn. Even if you're called Thanos, it makes no difference to me. Norman looked puzzled. Who was Thanos? Was he powerful? Could he even be more powerful than Norman? Norman Osborn was one of the top technology companies in the United States and even the world. Focused on biomedical technology with also a portion of military business. They had close ties with the US military, and even the leaders of other major countries had to give him enough respect. As Norman pondered, his hand had already touched the alarm button. As soon as he pressed it, Osborn Industries' armed security would arrive at the lab within 3 minutes to subdue the enemy. The police would also quickly provide support within 10 minutes. If I were you, I wouldn't do something so futile. Aaron raised his head and looked at him, at some point, making a go ahead gesture with his right hand. You can press it, I won't stop you. Seeing the other party's calm and leisurely appearance, Norman hesitated. He wasn't a fool. He suddenly realized that if the other party could easily crack the lab door's electronic lock, then they must have powerful hacking abilities or a similar accomplice. His actions were probably already calculated by the other party. After figuring it out, Norman simply walked over, and by this time, Aaron had already pulled out his boss's chair and sat down. Who exactly are you? What do you want to do? Do you know the consequences of your actions? General Ross, General Thaddeus, are all my friends. Do you understand the meaning of those names? Offending Osborn Industries and affecting the military's plans, even if you escape to the ends of the earth, you won't be able to escape the FBI's eyes. Osborn and Aaron stood facing each other, his eyes sweeping over the drawer, where there was a gun. At this moment, Osborn's expression changed. As he looked over, Aaron noticed something, directly pulled open the drawer, and took out the Glock pistol inside. He clumsily loaded the gun. Osborn subconsciously took 2 steps back. Aaron raised the gun, took aim, and then suddenly pointed it at the palm of his left hand and pulled the trigger. Bang! Damn it! This guy is a lunatic. Norman roared inwardly. Where did this lunatic from a mental hospital come from? Was he one of Arkham's talents? After the panic, Norman's face became uncertain again. He looked at Aaron's left hand, which had been shot, completely unscathed. It's a bit like being bitten by a mosquito. You use this to protect yourself? This is your confidence? Aaron played with the bullet, which had already flattened out, in the palm of his hand, shaking his head in disappointment. I suggest you keep an AK or an RPG in the lab. A 9mm toy can't protect you. I really appreciate your thoughtful suggestion. Do you think everyone is a monster or a madman like you? Crazy and mysteriously powerful, actually shooting himself with a pistol, and being unharmed. If he hadn't prepared the pistol himself, he would have thought it was a toy gun. Moreover, the other party had broken through Osborn Industries' heavy security and come directly to him, the boss. The company's various security measures were like nothing in the other party's eyes. If this kind of enemy really targeted him, even if he turned the lab into an armory, he wouldn't feel safe. Damn it! Could there be an internal mole in the security department? Your emotions are very agitated, your heartbeat is at a dangerous level, EMMM. Your brainwave signals are also too frequent. Do you need a glass of water to calm down? Aaron had a benign and friendly smile on his face. Norman almost passed out in anger. Then pour me a glass of water. Probably knowing that Aaron wasn't an ordinary person and that he had no ability to resist, he resigned himself to fate and pulled out a chair to sit down. This was once the position of his subordinates, but now, it was his turn to sit here. And Aaron was sitting in his seat, as if he was the master of this place. Don't be nervous, I'll say it again, do you want to live? Aaron asked again. Norman finally understood and looked at the human enhancement serum in the other party's hand, and remembered the bizarre and powerful defense Aaron had shown just now. His expression changed, his tone low but with barely concealed excitement. Are you saying, you have human enhancement serum? Aaron shook his head, and Norman was disappointed. That's right, if human enhancement serum was so easy to obtain, the military wouldn't be looking for him. Even those mysterious and special organizations might not be able to produce a real, flawless enhancement serum. However, the next moment, Aaron spoke, "I don't have it, but I can improve it. And, even without this thing, I can solve your family's genetic defects." Norman clenched his fist tightly under the table. "You're not lying to me? How will you solve it?" The reason he was researching human enhancement serum was not simply to serve the military, but to completely solve their family's genetic disease. Their family clearly enjoyed enormous wealth, but they had inherited genetic diseases for generations. Each generation of members would die of illness before reaching old age. He wanted to change his fate, investing a lot of money in various experiments and collaborating with many famous biologists, just to allow his family to completely say goodbye to the destiny of death. But he was already approaching that age, and still hadn't developed a qualified serum. On the contrary, he had repeatedly brought a different flavor to New York's security. "That's not what you need to worry about, you just need to think about what price you can pay." Aaron was as calm as ever. He came here to show his cards to Norman, not for a few million or tens of millions. His goal was the entire Osborne Industries. Osborne Industries at its peak was on par with Stark Industries, with a wide range of cooperation, especially in biotechnology, which was absolutely unique. Look, there are Green Goblin, Lizard, and other excellent villains with direct connections. There are also Dr. Octopus, Electro, Rhino, and other frequent prison visitors with indirect connections. Even Spider-Man was bitten by a spider from Osborne Industries. It can be said to be full of talents. Norman Osborn calmed down. He stared at Aaron carefully. He had a feeling that the other party's appetite wouldn't be so easily satisfied. As Norman was thinking, Aaron suddenly spoke. "I want the entire Osborn." "That's impossible. This is impossible." Norman Osborn was like a mad bull. His eyes were red. "Osborne Industries is the crown that our family has painstakingly built for generations. Even if you can solve my genetic disease, I can't give it to you. And, as you can see, I am only one step away from success. As long as I can solve the defect problem, I will have a Superman-like body, and my body will become perfect and powerful. Even you won't be my opponent at that time." Norman is very confident. The Captain of the United States has proved with practice that the Superman-like is powerful. And his human strengthening potion is more powerful than the serum injected by the Captain of the United States. He can be sure that he will become the most powerful super soldier in the future. Hearing this, Aaron laughed. In the end, he laughed out loud. "Wait for me to laugh for a while, unless I really can't help it, otherwise I am. Ha ha ha." "Norman, I have to say, you are very confident, but you will also pay the price for your confidence." Aaron laughed and shook his head. "This thing has powerful side effects, which is much more terrifying than you think. In addition to violent tendencies, this potion can also induce the depths of a person's soul, and combine the negative emotions of the injector to produce another crazy monster personality. It will expand your negative emotions and induce you to commit crimes. When you fall into darkness and can't extricate yourself, it will occupy your body and turn you into a madman who only knows destruction. Think about it. If I don't tell you, even if you solve the side effects of irritability and then happily inject the reagent, what will happen? Think about the hard work of your family, and think about your children." Norman was about to deny it, but when he heard the last sentence, his face changed. If what the other party said is true, then his consequences will be unimaginable. "Who are you? Why do you know the side effects of the potion?" "Nothing can be hidden from my eyes." Aaron pointed to his eyes, which were a little different from those of ordinary people and too clear and bright, and then said in a faint tone, "I also know that this thing of yours contains part of the formula of the super soldier serum that the Captain of the United States injected. Do you think everyone is the Captain of the United States, and the justice and light in their hearts can defeat evil and darkness? After your transformation, this thing will only become more terrifying, and then produce a green devil with a green body, or an ugly goblin. Well, I thought of it. From now on, I will call you and Harry the Goblin family?" No, Norman Osborn didn't want to admit it, but Aaron didn't need to lie to him. For this kind of thing, you just need to find someone to experiment with it, and you will know it. His hard work actually contains such a big side effect. What if the evil personality after his injection injects the same serum into Harry, then? Damn it, it's absolutely not allowed. Actually. Osborne Industries. Norman was a little shaken, but he still couldn't make up his mind. After all, this is the huge Osborne Industries. Even though Tony Stark became Iron Man, even though he was too crazy and invested too much money in various projects, Osborne Industries has suffered serious losses recently, and even has signs of fading. But Osborne is still the supergroup worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Giving away such a huge family business, unless he is crazy. Even if he jumps from a height of hundreds of meters today, he will never do that. I can give you a part of the group's voice and shares. Aaron raised his hand to interrupt him, stood up and picked up a reagent. This is. Norman was puzzled, looking at the blue liquid in the test tube. For some reason, he always felt that this test tube was a little familiar. This is a healing potion I made that can be used to repair human tissue. Have you ever played games? This thing is the red bottle in it, the blood bottle, which can speed up human metabolism and increase human recovery speed. If someone is injured, taking or injecting it can quickly recover from the injury. Even if the aorta is cut, as long as the injection is timely and in sufficient quantity, you can escape from the death god. How much do you think this thing is worth? Norman looked at the small test tube in surprise, and after thinking deeply, he said carefully, at least tens of billions of yuan. This is a life-saving magic medicine, and it can even be used in many scenarios such as surgery. As long as it can be mass-produced, it will surely be popular all over the world. As for its ultimate value, it needs further testing and research. You want? Norman suddenly reacted. In addition to this healing potion, I can also make other potions such as beauty potions, anti-aging potions, limb regeneration potions, anti-cancer potions. You can only think of it, but I can do it. I have only one condition: Osborne Industries belongs to me, and strictly follows my will. I will take these things out one after another. You can study and mass-produce them. I believe there are ready-made products, and it is not difficult for you to imitate them. Aaron put the reagent in front of him and said lightly. In fact, this thing is a super weakened version of serum that he took from the failed serum in the laboratory, melted it, and extracted it separately. It only contains a certain recovery ability. Injecting it has no side effects, nor will it improve physical fitness. It can only improve metabolism in a short time and replenish the required energy. It is the blood bottle in the game, but even so, it is still enough to make people crazy. To some extent, it is a super magic medicine. In the previous real universe, once it comes out, it will cause a frenzy, and it is no problem to create a 100 billion group. But this is Marvel. Although it is still in high demand, Aaron doesn't care about it at all. He needs a complete Osborne industry, and then obey his personal will, become his tool, and collect some small things from all over the world. At the same time, he doesn't want to spend his mind on this tool. Norman Osborn is the tool man he pushed out. Norman is still hesitating, but Aaron has already made up his mind, closed his eyes, and patiently waited for the other party to answer. Norman is a smart man and knows how to choose. Sure enough, after hesitating for a while, Norman thought of Harry, who was out of school, and finally made up his mind. I promise you. A wise choice, Aaron praised with a faint smile. He stood up and patted Norman on the shoulder, just like a boss to an employee, and said earnestly, Norman, you are a smart man, you made the best choice. Believe me, in a few years, you will definitely be proud of your choice today. No, maybe not a year, maybe a month, maybe half a year? As long as you work hard to develop the group for me and do things for me, super strength, long life, lofty status. We'll all be there, do a good job in the future. I am very optimistic about you, young man. I will give you everything in your dreams, and far beyond your imagination. Norman was a little dazed. These are all his words. Even the chair is his. Then boss, what instructions are you going to give next? After a period of discomfort, Norman asked a little awkwardly. Calling someone boss. From childhood to adulthood. Norman is completely a big girl getting married. This is the first time. Even this boss is a little unfamiliar. After listening, Aaron pondered for a while. First, the headquarters of the group will be moved to the Eastern Dragon Country in the future. And 2 dual headquarters models can be implemented, but the New York one can only be regarded as an important branch, and the headquarters here must be moved to other cities. Norman Osborn looked at Aaron's distinctive oriental face, and understood the first half of the sentence, but the second half of the sentence, "Boss, could I ask why?" Aaron said without hesitation, "Because it is safe, it is too unsafe here. I don't want aliens to come one day and destroy my tools, my hard work." Norman's eyebrows jumped. "You just said it, tools. Osborn Industries is just your tool. That's our hard work. His own white moonlight is RBQ in the eyes of another man. Damn, think about it carefully and explode on the spot." Norman is still a little confused, but he roughly understands that the United States is not safe, and the Eastern Dragon Country is absolutely safe. Or, New York is the least safe. I understand. I will sort out a suitable plan when I go down. Norman nodded. A new official has 3 fires when he takes office, and this is only the first one. Naturally, he has to do it well. Second, you immediately organize a group of biological experts to analyze the medicine I gave you and mass produce it as soon as possible. At the same time, during this process, I will send you an email with the gadgets I need. You must mobilize all the group's strength and connections to collect them for me as soon as possible. With Osborn Industries, even if it is something illegal, it can be passed through security checks smoothly under the pretext of scientific research. Even if someone finds out, they will turn a blind eye. Norman's heart moved. I will arrange it immediately and let them get what you need as soon as possible. Aaron nodded with satisfaction. It's easy to talk to smart people. With just one sentence, Norman understood the order of execution of tasks. Scientific research is secondary, and satisfying Aaron's personal needs is the most important. Because Aaron is the boss. Third, there can only be one voice in the company. I don't care what method you use, you must deal with others. Although Aaron doesn't care about money, it doesn't mean that he is willing to share this cake with other rats. Although Norman has the final say in Osborn Industries, in fact, he is only a major shareholder, and other small shareholders can also compete with him if they unite. Even at some times, he could force the emperor to abdicate. Norman is a smart man, but he is also a science madman, and he has no intention of competing for rights with shareholders who focus on this. So much so that at the worst time of the group, he was almost kicked out by those small shareholders. He was forced to inject Green Goblin serum, and a bomb sent them to see God. Norman suddenly realized. He hesitated for a moment, and made a gesture of wiping his neck, like this. Aaron rolled his eyes. You're the major shareholder. I don't want this matter to leave any follow-up troubles. Only tonight. Tomorrow you will be the major shareholder. Norman felt bad. Well, now he has become an employee, and the boss will run his legs off when he opens his mouth. Well, he has to compete with young people when he is old. It's really thriving. Aaron waved his hand, and Norman walked up in confusion. Putting his hand on Norman, he silently said in his heart, melting Norman Osborn's family genetic disease. In an instant, Norman felt that something was sucked out of his body, soul, or spirit. I don't know if it's an illusion, but my body seems to be much lighter. The tired body left by staying up late for research has become much more energetic. It seems that my body has regained its second spring? You can go now. From now on, you don't have to worry about the family genetic disease taking your life at any time. Aaron waved his hand. Ah, I'm fine. Norman's eyes widened. Is it that simple? Put your hand on it, and you'll be fine. What kind of method is this? What do you think? Do you have to cut your stomach open? It's just a small problem, so easy. Norman walked out of the laboratory absent-mindedly, and met other security guards and people working overtime along the way. Hearing one boss after another, he sighed helplessly. I don't know if it's the last day to be the owner here, or because he sighed for his half-life of vain work, but it was not as effective as Aaron's hand. Or both? When he came outside, Norman looked up at the sky. It was clearly sunset, but at the moment was so full of vitality in his eyes, just like the rising sun. He silently repeated in his heart, Aaron. He knew that his life had changed significantly since he was born today. The future would be either the abyss or heaven, All depended on the mysterious Oriental man Aaron. After Norman left, Aaron also left Osborne Industries. He was not afraid that Norman would regret it and flee to another place. As long as he wanted to find him, even if Norman ran to the ends of the earth or hid in the depths of the sea, he would have nowhere to escape. The next day, it was already past noon. Aaron was awakened by a violent doorbell ring. You don't need to open the door to know that this pheromone is definitely Kate, accompanied by a faint fragrance. Everyone's pheromones are different, but Aaron can accurately analyze the differences. He can even control these pheromones to some extent. I just don't know if Mystique or the Skrull's shapeshifting can even imitate these pheromones. Well, I can try it if I have a chance. The faint fragrance is mixed with the smell of the sea. Oh, and Eleanor? Then I heard Eleanor's scolding, as if to say don't disturb Mr. Aaron's rest. The doorbell stopped ringing. Aaron got up and washed up, then opened the door. Hello, Mr. Aaron, I'm sorry to bother you. Little Kate really wants to see you so much that she wants to drag me to see you early in the morning. Eleanor said with some apology. Little Kate rolled her eyes wildly. Aaron looked up at the sky. Well, it was indeed very early, and the sun was in the sky. Kate doesn't study. Today is not a day off. Kate raised her head proudly. Those studies? I've already finished them. I'm too lazy to play with those little brats. I'm going to start my training plan later. My mother has signed me up for Xingyiquan, Tai Chi, Baxi fighting technique, Sanda, Jiu-Jitsu, Karate, fencing and several other courses. When I learn them all, I want to be as strong and righteous as you. Kate's face was full of admiration. If Eleanor hadn't pulled her, she would have rushed up and pulled Aaron away. Really? But I think you'd better not learn from me. Aaron looked strange. Why? I'm not a righteous friend. I'm just a free-spirited motherland. Ahem, ordinary people. Kate didn't believe it, but Aaron didn't explain in detail. Anyway, he didn't want Kate to learn from him. He always felt like he was going to teach her bad things. Besides, he wasn't that easy to learn. It's just that you're here. Can you take me along the way? Aaron yawned, quite lazy. Eleanor smiled and said, definitely, I'm happy to serve you. She naturally wouldn't refuse. The opportunity to get closer to Aaron would be of great benefit to both Bishop Security and Kate. She saw that Kate would not be a person who could stay still in the future. Since she wanted to take off and be a hero, let her go. The only thing she could do was to support Kate unreservedly and provide her with strong logistics and strong enough protection. With Aaron, I believe Kate will be much safer in the future. So, where are we going next? Osborne Industries. That's a big group. Are you going there to apply for a job? Eleanor drove while observing Aaron through the rearview mirror. To some extent, that's true. Aaron nodded. How can applying for a boss not be considered an application? Eleanor was a little disappointed and hid some words. Bishop Security is rich, but Osborne is richer. There's no comparison between the two. Kate chattered along the way, and talked a lot with Aaron about various aspects. One moment he was still talking about how smart Gotham's Batman was, and the next moment he was talking about which place in New York had delicious food. Aaron talked intermittently, and most of the time it was Kate who was talking. After all, he was really unfamiliar with this country. Even the trip to Osborne Industries yesterday was an accident. Now let him go by himself. Well, he probably has to go around downtown New York for a few laps. After a while, the three of them arrived at Osborne Industries. Looking at a large group of people standing at the entrance of the building, lined up on both sides in an orderly manner, as if welcoming some big shot. Eleanor looked regretful. It seems that you have no chance to apply today. With the scene in Osborne today, I guess the president is coming. Aaron waved his hand. It's okay. He unbuckled his seat belt and got out of the car. Eleanor wanted to say something else, but Aaron just waved to the back and walked towards the crowd. From a distance, Eleanor saw several people coming from the crowd. The leader seemed to be Mr. Norman Osborne. Kate opened her mouth and hesitated. Mom, they won't be beaten, right? Maybe. We can call an ambulance? Huh? They obviously want to drive Aaron away. I always feel that something big is going to happen. Eleanor was a little nervous when she heard this, but the next moment, something surprising happened. Norman Osborn actually shook hands with Aaron enthusiastically and said something? The middle and senior executives of Osborn around Norman were all smiling, and they didn't even have the qualifications to speak. They were responsible for laughing the whole time. Who is Aaron? How could she not know that the President of the United States has been replaced by an Oriental? Have those politicians finally come to their senses and understood the importance of cooperation? Kate also scratched her head. Has the political wind changed recently? I haven't heard of this kind of ZZ, correct? Then, they watched Aaron lead the way to the Osborn building. He looked a little unhappy, as if he was not satisfied with the scene in front of him. Norman was smiling, but he was not dissatisfied at all. And Aaron was walking in front, and Norman was one step slower. It died, the fairy tale world and reality integrate. Kate thought blankly. On the other side, Aaron came to Norman's office with a gloomy face. Sorry, boss, I watched some videos of ancient Oriental countries and thought it was a custom in your country, so I made these scenes without authorization. Norman apologized carefully, fearing that Aaron would be angry. Aaron was very angry at first, mainly because he didn't like to deal with too many people, but seeing Norman so careful, his anger was also reduced by half. Okay, don't do this next time, it's meaningless to me. Norman nodded in understanding. Aaron was obviously not an ordinary person. The scenes that ordinary people pursued were probably not worth mentioning to him. What he pursued was probably the position of God. Or, he was a god? Thinking of this, Norman became more restrained. He hesitated for a while but still said with a stiff upper lip, "Boss, there is another thing. I have found several secretary candidates for you, who will be responsible for handling the trivial matters of work and life for you. Do you think you should take the time to interview them one-on-one?" Where are they? Aaron thought about it and felt that he needed to find a secretary. Although he was not going to interfere in the operation of Osborn, he believed that professional matters should be left to professionals. But considering that he would inevitably be involved in some related matters in the future, it would be good to have a secretary to sort them out for him. He definitely did not make this decision because he noticed Norman's meaningful expression, absolutely not. I notified them to wait in the reception room as early as 9 o'clock. Now they are all there. I will notify them one by one now. Norman stepped forward and opened a file. This is their information, please take a look. After Norman left, Aaron glanced at the first file. Gender: Felicia. Gender: female. Age: 21. Marital status: single, no dating experience either. Attached is the medical examination report. Aaron raised his eyebrows, something is there. He flipped through it again. Wow, this medical examination is more detailed and comprehensive than the premarital examination. Woman, you have successfully attracted my attention. After looking at the avatar a few more times, Aaron got up. No wonder she looked familiar. This woman is the secretary of Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Not to mention, it has a different flavor. The first document surprised him a little. Aaron subconsciously flipped through the second one. He glanced at it and his face changed. Damn, there is a traitor, stop the transaction. Knock, knock, knock. The door is not closed, come in. Aaron lay on a chair worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, looking forward. A woman wearing a standard black suit, long black hair, a pair of big eyes that can speak, and sexy lips approached slowly. She said nothing, and first took the initiative to pour boiled water for Aaron. Well, this was specially arranged by Norman for Aaron, because he couldn't drink coffee. But Felicia judged Aaron's preference from the traces left on the cup. She tidied the table for Aaron and sat right in front of him. As if she noticed Aaron's gaze, she didn't sit upright like other interviewers, but crossed her legs to make the black stockings more conspicuous. At the same time, she had a soft smile on her face. Although she looked smooth, Aaron still saw that she was relatively unfamiliar and stiff from her movements, which was obviously the result of recent emergency training. There was no problem with her height. She was definitely 178 centimeters tall, and she was almost close to Aaron in high heels. The measurements are fine, the convex and concave are all right, not bad. After careful perception, the pheromones also gave him enough information. Felicia did not wear heavy makeup, but just a light makeup, very light. So now it can be said that she is bare-faced. If she dresses up a little, she will score higher. Aaron is very confident in his judgment. My eyes are the ruler. I can tell whether it is natural or a head-changing monster by just looking at it and smelling it. Felicia boldly showed herself and let Aaron take a closer look. You are not in a relationship? Why? Aaron did not ask about work issues. We are all adults. There is no need to play those twists and turns. You prepare like this, I ask like this, there is nothing wrong. Felicia said nervously. I live in a Christian family, and premarital S*X is not allowed. And I am not interested in those little shits. I just want to learn and get ahead. Find someone taller and stronger than me, and it would be better if he has the same hair color as me. Oh, woman, you are quite good, you just said that the person is me. Aaron smiled. Christianity? Do you believe in it? I don't have to believe in it, Felicia pursed her lips. You just don't believe in it. She turned out to be a rebellious girl. But she knows her own advantages and goals. Smart woman. Aaron doesn't mind a woman being smart, because no matter how smart she is, she can never control him. On the contrary, sometimes being smart can backfire. Are you still a student at Empire State University? A female college student? Aaron then said, your work will be very busy in the future, and I have a lot of things to do. Felicia said seriously, no problem. I can become your secretary and work in Osborne Industries. The school will consider it and give me enough internship time. When the time comes, I only need to go back and complete the exams. If I pass all the exams, I can graduate smoothly, and it will definitely not affect my work here. In fact, I have completed my studies ahead of time and can apply for early graduation at any time. Felicia said confidently, not worried about not having time to study. Hearing this, Aaron said nothing more. I've read your profile, you're excellent. You've got excellent grades in all aspects, and you're also enthusiastic and proactive. You participated in activities including but not limited to yoga, dance, music, and flute. You've also studied management and finance, which is very consistent with the requirements of this recruitment. Aaron stood up and held out his hand. I hope we can work together happily in the future. Felicia covered her mouth in surprise, and quickly stood up to shake hands. If there's a chance, I hope to see you play the flute once. I also have some knowledge of this instrument. Aaron was meaningful. Felicia nodded heavily, definitely, my boss. Do we have to continue interviewing the remaining candidates next? Felicia quickly brought them into the work. She was a little nervous, and seized every opportunity to show her ability and role. In fact, she had no confidence in whether she could get this opportunity. A college student had no advantages over other interviewees. And this is the only secretary of the chairman of Osborne Industries. Opportunity cannot be missed. Even if she succeeds in getting the job now, she dare not be careless. Because there is another strong rival among the applicants this time. That woman is not worse than her, and even better. Fortunately, she is the first applicant, otherwise she really has no confidence to stand out among the applicants. If it was that woman, I am afraid that the one who stays with Aaron now is not her. No need, you are enough. Let's go. Aaron shook his head and no longer spent time dealing with the remaining applicants. The rest are also excellent, but most of them are not as good as Felicia. The only one who can match is the inner ghost. In this case, it is better to send them all back. Later, slowly look for other secretaries. Felicia nodded, holding a document, and hurriedly followed Aaron. The two left the chairman's office, walked into the elevator, and came to the floor of the reception room. A woman with long red hair and a black seductive dress came towards them. When she saw Aaron, she glanced at Felicia calmly, then said warmly and sweetly, "Hello, boss, Aaron ignored her and walked straight out of the elevator. At the same time, he said to Felicia, who was nervous beside him, "Remember the woman just now. She stepped into the company with her left foot first. Fire her immediately." The people passing by paused, and one person even staggered and almost fell. People who were listening in the distance and pretending to work also looked over. The red-haired woman who was the party was dumbfounded on the spot, her mouth slightly open. Even with her strong psychological quality, her mind was empty at this moment. At this time, Norman Osborn, who received the notice and rushed over, also looked sideways frequently, looked at Felicia strangely, and then looked at Natalie Rushman. Then he waved his hand and said, "Ms. Natalie, you can leave." After that, he hurriedly followed Aaron and left. Natalie stared at Aaron and others blankly, felt the eyes of the people around her, and looked down silently. Then he turned his head and looked at the bright reflective glass. "Isn't it perfect? Sir, you look at me beautiful? Excuse me, I have something else to do." Before Natalie finished speaking, the man who was stopped withdrew his gaze without any reluctance, and left in a hurry with a pale face as if he had met the god of plague. When entering the office, he paused, forced his steps to turn around, and stepped into the door with his right foot first. At the same time, he looked back in the direction of the boss, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. Natalie stopped another one, but also forced to bypass and leave. "Natalie is crazy. What the hell is the way you look at the god of plague? Am I not beautiful? F***K. Natalie raised her middle finger to the crowd, shook her hair, and left directly. However, when she crossed the company's door, she hesitated for a moment. When she entered the door just now, which foot did she step with first? The same question appeared in the minds of others. Did Aaron just drive Natalie away because he couldn't stand her, or did he really take a step with his left foot and then set a fire to establish his authority? Some people went to the monitoring department out of curiosity. When they saw Natalie confidently stepping into the door with her left foot, everyone was dumbfounded. "Listen, Chief, I'm done. The new president of Osborn Group is a fool, F***K. Natalie left Osborn Group and went to a secluded corner. She complained when she got on the satellite phone. Nick Fury on the other side listened to all the fakes patiently and gradually understood the whole story. "Natasha Romanoff, is there a possibility that your charm has declined recently? Or does he not like your style? I don't think a man who suddenly appeared, swung all over New York City like a swain, and then connected with Bishop Security and Osborn Group, and became a major shareholder of Osborn Group in one fell swoop, would be a fool. Is Norman Osborn a fool? Is Eleanor Bishop a fool? Think about it. Is this your own problem?" Natasha Romanoff's eyebrows jumped. "After talking for a long time, is it that I am not good enough or you are too picky? Is it possible that I am not as good as a student girl who doesn't understand romance? Does she understand with your eyes? Can she understand a single action? I can? I refuse to contact that jerk anymore, okay? I'll change someone to contact him. Next, follow the original plan and continue to try to contact Stark Industries. I've already connected with his assistant, and you'll be able to enter smoothly soon. This time, I hope you won't be unable to handle even a playboy." Natasha Romanoff rolled her eyes. She should have gone to Stark Industries. Tony Stark was a S***X hungry ghost, and it was definitely easy to get him. It was just that she heard that Osborn Group had a problem and was urgently looking for a secretary, so she hurried over first. With her extremely excellent agent experience and mastery of multiple languages, she managed to get in touch and temporarily sneak into this interview. However, before it even started, she was eliminated by a sentence. "I hate rich people. F***K. Natasha Romanoff had just finished cursing when a picture of Pac-Man suddenly popped up on her phone. She looked at Pac-Man in a daze, eating her apps one after another, and showed her a big smile. Then, the phone screen went black and turned into a brick. Black question mark face. Where is my cell phone? This is the agent's cell phone assigned by the bureau, and she never watches short videos. So, what is the situation now? Natasha Romanoff didn't understand, but her blood pressure soared, and she threw it in anger. F***K. 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 Even a cell phone bullies me, go to hell. On the other side, sorry, boss, I know that Natalie sneaked into the interview assessment this morning. I will deal with the relevant personnel now. I must deal with it seriously. Norman tried very carefully to restore his good impression in Aaron's heart. He was really scared by Aaron's mysterious methods. After returning, he quickly called the company's surveillance video, but everything was normal. He also did a simple test on his body in the secret laboratory of the villa. Sure enough, The family genetic disease that was like the death god completely disappeared from the body. He is now healthier than ever, and no longer has to be killed by the disease. If he still had doubts before the test, but now, he has figured it out. Norman still wants to behave well and let Aaron help his son Harry to eradicate the disease. He doesn't want Harry to die miserably like his father without even having the chance to hold his child. Aaron waved his hand. In the future, the list of secretary candidates will be handed to me as soon as possible. That person named Natalie will never be allowed to enter the Osborn group. Understood. Norman nodded and accepted the order. By the way, boss, I have asked the purchasing department and the warehousing department to temporarily purchase a batch of what you told me yesterday, you see. Take me there. Aaron paused and gestured to lead the way. Norman immediately led the way. Felicia was puzzled by this, thinking that this was an extremely important work arrangement, so she frowned and thought about how to behave later. But when she came to a hidden utility room and looked at the things that were bugs and unknown instruments, she fell into deep thought. Are there any special things about these things? Is there an important factor that she can't understand? For example, the bugs are made by combining Osborn's biotechnology, super genetic bugs? What are the helmets and glasses that look like the equipment of individual soldiers on TV? Is it a new generation of military equipment secretly manufactured by the Osborn Group? And these lizards? Geckos, lizards? Felicia had a certain understanding of the Osborn Group before coming. At the same time, the documents in her hand also recorded some important experiments of the Osborn Group, and a copy was sent to the mailbox via email. To ensure that Aaron can accurately reply when he has questions. She vaguely knew that the company had a lizard experiment project, but these lizards seemed to be ordinary? Felicia was puzzled, and Norman was puzzled, but he did not ask. You all wait outside. Aaron motioned them to leave, and the brain signal invaded the surrounding network, and there was no trace of surveillance around. Although Norman didn't know what Aaron was going to do, he deliberately ensured privacy. After they left, Aaron opened the things on the table one by one. Geckos with night vision and regeneration abilities, chameleons that can change their skin color to hide themselves, the fastest insects, green tiger beetles, bats with ultrasonic detection, axolotls with super recovery abilities, and the latest generation of infrared thermal vision auxiliary equipment. Each type, more than 10 copies are configured. And it also includes many varieties. For example, there are several types of lizards such as geckos and chameleons, with dozens of them in total. This is what the Osborn Group purchased temporarily this morning or brought from the laboratory. Next, similar things will be shipped in one after another. Aaron did not continue to think about it, and opened his right hand. Dude, it's time to work. The black hole kept running, and under Aaron's control, it absorbed and melted all the insects and glass bottles and jars. One after another, light flowed into the whole body along the palm of his hand. Supervision, Gecko, your eyes have a controllable special light sensing ability, up to 400 times that of human eyes. Even at night, it is like daytime, and similar abilities have been detected and integrated. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Super regeneration, Gecko. You have a powerful repair ability, and you can quickly regenerate even if your limbs are broken. The regeneration speed depends on your body's energy, ranging from hours to days. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Super speed, green tiger armor. You have super speed, and can cross 350 meters per second. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Supervision, high-crowned chameleon. Your eyes can focus individually and capture multiple moving targets at the same time. Detecting similar abilities have been integrated. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Giant tongue lash. Your tongue has strong flexibility and ductility. It can be extended to 4 times its original length at any time, and can move with it, up and down, left and right, front and back. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Mimicry, chameleon. Detecting similar abilities have been integrated. You can change your skin color through your perception of the surrounding environment and blend into the surrounding environment. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ultrasound, bad. You can release ultrasonic waves to locate targets, up to 300 kHz. Depending on changes in physical fitness, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket super hearing, bad. Detected similar ability. Has been integrated, you can distinguish sounds of different frequencies, and can accurately judge the surrounding objects and environment through ultrasound, and can also distinguish the information contained in different frequencies of sound. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket super immunity, bad. You have a strong immune system that can tolerate, resist and eliminate a variety of deadly viruses, and ordinary external abnormal objects will not be able to invade the body. Congratulations on your complete farewell to AIDS, syphilis, genital warts, gonorrhea. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket muscle control, bad. You can perfectly control every muscle in your body and make certain changes to make it burst out with a more powerful function, ears, mouth, etc. And you can also generate sound waves through high-frequency movements of hands and feet. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket super regeneration, axolotl, detected similar ability, has been integrated. You have the cell-level recovery ability, from small skin damage to large heart and brain damage. When there is enough energy, it will quickly recover to its original state, and avoid abnormal regeneration such as the sixth limb. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket infrared thermal imaging. It can clearly detect the thermal radiation signals of surrounding objects and convert them into regional environmental images. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket vibration perception. Similar abilities have been detected and integrated. You can detect vibrations in the surrounding environment more accurately and analyze more information, direction, quantity, distance, etc. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Close black lens bracket. It's so cool. After sweeping away the objects in front of him, Aaron exclaimed sincerely. He slowly adapted to the many new abilities. Even with his strong adaptability, it was not easy to perfectly control so many abilities. Not to mention the recently acquired abilities, he has not even tested and perfectly controlled the other abilities he had acquired before. You know, even the simple supervision, he has integrated it many times. See farther, dynamic vision has leapt up, multispectral vision that can see more colors and light, and the newly acquired single focus, supersensory vision, and even infrared thermal imaging can barely count. Once he turns on these abilities at the same time, the visual image in front of him will change dramatically. Just like abstract paintings, there is only more abstract, not the most abstract. But Mom no longer has to worry about him getting lost at night. Even in the middle of the night, he can use weak light to see the color of objects hundreds of meters away as clearly as in the daytime. Infrared thermal imaging and ultrasonic abilities also allow him to accurately detect enemies hiding in the dark. With many abilities combined, he can completely transform into a midnight hunter. No one can escape his pursuit. Even those vampires may have to admit defeat at night. Definitely, what surprised Aaron the most was that he obtained the super regeneration ability, which can be called abnormal. Even if the heart and other organs, or even the brain are damaged, they can recover quickly. Super defense plus super regeneration is more terrifying than the indestructible cockroach. There are also perfect muscle control, mimicry camouflage, and super speed, supersonic level. Hey! How did a weird thing sneak in? Damn, giant tongue whip. What kind of positive blessing is this? Am I a person who needs that kind of ability? Don't let those female anchors know in the future, otherwise. Oh, and the previous vibration, the giant tongue whip just obtained, muscle control. Hiss, the rhythm of dead man. I can't think about it anymore. Aaron thought about it and shook his head repeatedly. With his super physique, super strength, and super speed, does he still need these weird abilities? That's too much of an underestimation of him? Aaron subconsciously glanced at his fingers. When will there be a Kato Eagle hand? Wouldn't that be a perfect match? Damn, what the hell am I thinking? Bang! Aaron smashed the table with a slap, and Norman, who was waiting outside, knocked on the door in fear. Boss? It's okay. Aaron looked around, and then left without any reluctance. Norman and Felicia saw the empty room through the crack in the door, and they wanted to say something, but in the end they didn't ask anything. Norman glanced at Aaron. For some reason, he always felt that the boss had become stronger again. His eyes were sharper, as if he could see through people's hearts. Norman had nothing to hide, but he couldn't help but lower his head. "Boss, the things you told me will be collected in the next month, at least half of them. Some of the objects have no information at all, so it may take some time." Aaron nodded and said, "It's okay, you did a good job." Norman's face was happy, but he felt something was wrong. He just went from boss to younger brother, and the substitution was so fast. After thinking for a while, Norman asked tentatively, "Boss, our group has some genetically modified creatures, do you want to see them? For example, our latest research results, using synthetic RNA to make a new genome, and then combining it with the genes of 3 spiders to develop 13 super spiders." Aaron paused. Is there such a thing? He suddenly retrieved keywords in his mind, searched for similar words in the folder left over from history, and then matched them one by one. He looked strange. "Are you sure it's not 15? Norman was shocked, glanced at Felicia, and said in surprise, "Boss, do you know that our next project is 15? The 13 super spiders we developed this time have more or less some defects and do not meet the original idea. So the relevant person in charge decided to change some genes to create 15 super spiders." Aaron raised his hand to interrupt. "Take me there. Good guy, Spider-Man is about to be born?" Thinking of this, Aaron asked again, "Do you know Professor Connors and Dr. Otto?" Norman nodded. "Professor Connors is a famous biological expert. We have had a pleasant cooperation with him, although the experiment failed. Dr. Otto is a famous nuclear physics doctor, but recently he has a small sun plan, which sounds crazy, but once it is realized, it will be on par with Stark." Aaron noticed that Norman was a little embarrassed when he mentioned Connors, and a little indifferent when he mentioned Otto, but when he mentioned Tony Stark, he could not hide the helplessness in his tone. Obviously, Norman felt very anxious and even discouraged about Tony Stark's success. After all, Osborn Group and Stark Industries were shoulder to shoulder, and they were both the 2 pearls of the United States. But now, Stark is far ahead, and even has a posture of being far ahead. And Osborn Group is gradually declining under his leadership. Aaron didn't care about Norman's feelings. He didn't care about how Osborn Group was in the past. But after he takes over, Osborn Group will surely become a supergroup. What about Stark Industries? Now his attention is on Professor Connors and Dr. Otto. One is the Lizard Serum, and the other is the Little Sun Project. He thought about it. If the Primordial Furnace smelted the Little Sun or the Arc Reactor, what would it give him? "Hiss, there is a way, boss. Are you interested in Professor Connors and Dr. Otto's experiments?" Norman vaguely guessed something. He still remembered that when Aaron was painting a big pie for him, he talked about beauty potions, anti-aging potions, limb regeneration potions and anti-cancer potions. No matter which of these potions is taken out, it will definitely make the whole world crazy. No woman can refuse to keep her appearance young forever. No rich man can refuse the desire for longevity of anti-aging potions, and no disabled person can ignore the new life brought by limb regeneration potions. Definitely, no cancer patient does not want to take a dose of anti-cancer potion. These 4 groups are all money. It contains a market of hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. Once the Osborn Group takes it out, it will not be a problem to surpass Stark Industries. Your energy industry has great potential, but our biomedical industry is not bad either. Humans are extremely eager for the starry sky, but they are even more eager for longevity and health. People can choose not to travel in space, but they can never refuse the temptation of longevity. This is human selfishness. Moreover, although Tony Stark has made a major breakthrough in energy, he has not produced a steel battlesuit or reactor technology. Although the decline caused by the closure of the arms department has been reversed and even soared, it has been greatly restricted. Apart from anything else, it is estimated that when the cure is ready, the Osborn Group will be able to compete with Stark Industries again. Aaron did not deny this statement. "Felicia, you make an appointment with Professor Connors and Dr. Otto according to my schedule, and say that the new chairman and president of the Osborne Group is very interested in their research." Felicia nodded and recorded the arrangement. During the whole process, she concentrated on performing her secretary work, listening when she should, shutting up when she should, and never saying a word more. However, the empty schedule made Felicia complain in her heart, as if Aaron's arrangement was not busy. On the contrary, she secretly glanced at Norman Osborne's schedule, and found that it was already scheduled until the early morning in the past week. Felicia felt very strange when she saw Norman Osborne working hard for Aaron until his death. As the former chairman, Norman had obviously lost all his shares and became the CEO as Aaron's agent. However, with less money, his tasks were even more arduous than before, and he was completely at a loss. But Norman was not only not depressed, but was full of energy and worked hard. "He is really a natural ox and horse saint." Hearing this, Norman also said, "In this case, I will ask my secretary to contact Felicia's secretary, and she can provide some help." As he spoke, Aaron followed Norman to the biological research department of the Osborne Group. When Aaron was led by a group of white coats, he saw the so-called 13 super spiders. "Boss, this spider is a funnel-shaped spider of the family Theridiidae. It can weave a funnel-shaped web as strong as a steel cable, which is also an important research direction for us. If the group can imitate and develop this super cobweb and use it in the textile industry, construction industry, aviation industry, shipbuilding industry, then we will gain a lot of benefits." The man in the white coat introduced it to Aaron enthusiastically, and seemed to be interested in showing his ability in front of the new boss and the old boss in order to obtain more research and development funds. Aaron didn't listen to those words, but just glanced at the summary report. The web of this spider surpasses the original cobwebs in all aspects. And it also has a stronger sensing ability. Aaron has tested before that smelting the same species with stronger abilities can also improve his abilities in this aspect to a certain extent. This characteristic can cover enhancement. In other words, there is no upper limit to his smelting ability, only these creatures have an upper limit. The abilities he obtains also depend on the strength of the corresponding function characteristics of the smelted object to a certain extent. He now has spider telepathy, but it is relatively ordinary. Some Spider-Man's sensing abilities are comparable to prophecy and more practical. As he looked at it, Aaron looked at the electron microscope next to him. "This thing seems to be able to smelt as well? Optical microscope, electron microscope, telescope, astronomical telescope, etc. He can even smelt some special metals, vibranium, uru metal, adamantium." Aaron fell into deep thought. He has already thought highly of his development ability, but now he finds that he is still far from fully developing the function of the primordial furnace. Just thinking about it, he discovered so much potential. When the characteristics of these things are concentrated in one person, just thinking about it makes my scalp numb. Maybe it's not enough to say that he is omniscient and omnipotent, but it can be regarded as a weakened version of omnipotence? Seeing Aaron deep in thought, Norman interrupted the chattering white-coated researcher, and everyone held their breath, waiting for Aaron's instructions. Soon Aaron came back to his senses, looked around, and looked eagerly. "Felicia, let the people in the finance department and the purchasing department cooperate to increase the budget so that our diligent researchers can further develop new species. As for these things," Aaron waved his hand, "take them all away." The research director showed joy. Increasing the budget means an increase in salary. They can also realize their ambitions. It's just 13 spiders, he doesn't care. "Did you hear it? Pack up all these spiders and take them away? Stop, I mean, take all these scientific research instruments, including these electron microscopes." "Ah, no, if you take them all away, how can we do research? Is this the rhythm of asking us to pack up and leave? Is this the only research lab in our group?" Aaron looked at Norman, who came to his senses. "Definitely not. You guys go to the next lab right now to continue the subsequent project. Pack up everything here and take it away." Everyone was dumbfounded. What is this all about? Norman didn't know, but he only knew that he would do whatever Aaron said. Even though these instruments cost hundreds of millions of dollars, he still gritted his teeth and packed them with tears. I was thinking, who should I go to for investment recently? It seems that I have to arrange some schedules again.